Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. First, I've been watching General Hospital for years, and I have to say the week of April 27 to May 1 looks like it's going to be a busy one in Port Charles. There's a lot of tension building up, and I'm already curious to see how everything unfolds. These characters feel like people I've known for a long time, so when trouble starts heading their way, I can't help but pay close attention. Let's talk about Valentin Cassadine first. That man is never one to take the easy road. This time, he's got a pretty risky plan in motion, and he's pulling Nina Reeves into it. Nina is going to have to pretend that Charlotte told her about a special place where Valentin often meets his daughter. Then she'll pass that information on to Brennan, hoping it will lead to Valentin getting caught. I wonder how she feels about playing that role. Nina is a strong woman, but being put in the middle like that can't be easy. What's interesting is that Valentin isn't actually trying to get caught. He wants Brennan to think he almost had him like a close call that lets Valentin stay one step ahead. It's clever, I'll give him that, but plans like this always carry risk. Things can go wrong in a heartbeat, especially if Carly Spencer or young Charlotte end up getting involved. Carly has been worried about Valentin for a while now. And if her fears come true and he actually gets arrested, I think it's really going to bother her. She may act tough, but she cares deeply about the people in her life. I can already imagine her turning that over in her mind, wondering what she could have done differently. Then there's Jen Sidwell. He seems to have a lot on his mind these days, private matters that he's keeping to himself. The show hasn't revealed everything yet, but you can sense something is weighing on him. It makes me think about how even the most confident people have moments when they're dealing with their own quiet struggles. I'm curious to see what's really going on with him and how it might affect the people around him. Overall, this week feels like one of those stretches where several storylines are picking up speed at the same time. Valentin's scheme with Nina, the possibility of Carly and Charlotte stepping into the situation, and Sidwell's personal concerns, it all adds up to a lot of drama in Port Charles. I like that the show doesn't make things too simple. Life isn't always neat and tidy, and neither are these stories. I'll be watching closely to see how Valentin's plan plays out. Will it go exactly the way he hopes, or will something unexpected throw everything off course? How will Nina handle being part of it, and will Carly's worries turn into something more serious? Even Sidwell's private thoughts have me wondering what's coming next. These kinds of weeks are why I keep tuning in. The characters face difficult situations, make tough choices, and try to find their way through. It feels real, even when it's dramatic. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and I'll probably be thinking about it long after the episode ends. What do you think? Are you planning to watch this week too? I'd love to hear which part has you most curious. Second, I've been a faithful viewer of General Hospital for many years now, and I have to tell you, the week coming up, from April 27 to May, one feels like one of those stretches where the drama in Port Charles is really starting to build. There are several storylines moving forward at the same time, and each one carries its own kind of tension. I find myself thinking about these characters even when the show is over, wondering how they're going to handle what's coming their way. Let me start with what Cassius Faison, the man pretending to be Nathan West, played by Ryan Pavey, did recently. He put a very dangerous thought into Jen Sidwell's head. He suggested that Lucas Jones might be the one who wants to kill Marco Rios. Now, Sidwell doesn't strike me as someone who dismisses ideas like that easily. In the episodes ahead, I suspect he's going to keep turning that possibility over and over in his mind. Once a suspicion like that takes root, it's hard to shake off. This worries me for Lucas. He's already had his share of troubles, and the last thing he needs is someone like Sidwell starting to believe he could be capable of something so serious. What makes it even more concerning is the possibility that Ross Cullum might catch wind of Sidwell's doubts. If Cullum decides to use Marco's phone to set up some kind of trap, Lucas could find himself in real danger without even seeing it coming. I don't like thinking about that. It feels unfair, and it reminds me how one whispered suggestion can snowball into something much bigger. At the same time, Cassius himself is not going to be pleased with some new developments. He's going to learn that Britt Westbourne has become part of a secret group connected to Rocco Falconeri's involvement as the shooter in the investigation surrounding Cullum. Cassius likes to stay in control of information, so I can imagine he won't be happy that Britt is now in that circle. It's one more person who knows things he might prefer stayed quiet. Then there's Lulu Spencer. She will probably find out about the confession Rocco made to Britt. As a mother, Lulu has always been protective of her son, and I wouldn't be surprised if she sits him down and gives him a stern talking to for speaking too freely. She loves Rocco deeply, but when she thinks he's put himself at risk by being too open with information, she doesn't hesitate to let him know. Those mother and son conversations can be tough, but they come from a place of caring. Still, I wonder if her scolding will make Rocco more careful going forward or if it might create some tension between them. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Jacks could be walking into some serious trouble of her own. If Ross Cullum starts to remember that she was in his hospital room after the shooting and his surgery, that memory is likely to raise a lot of questions in his mind. Cullum doesn't seem like the type to let things slide once he gets suspicious. He'll probably begin looking for answers, and that could lead him straight toward Jocelyn. Brennan has been doing everything he can to keep Jocelyn's connection to the WSB hidden, but I'm not sure his efforts will be enough. If Cullum manages to put the pieces together, he might start pursuing her. Jocelyn is a smart and determined young woman, but this feels like the kind of situation that could get complicated and risky very quickly. I keep wondering how far Cullum is willing to go once he starts digging, and whether Brennan's protection will hold up under pressure. When I look at all these threads together, it really shows how interconnected life in Port Charles can be. One person plants a seed of doubt with Sidwell, and suddenly Lucas is at risk. Britt joins a secret group, and Cassius gets irritated. Rocco shares something with Britt, and Lulu gets involved as a worried mother. Jocelyn's presence in that hospital room could come back to haunt her, no matter how carefully Brennan tries to cover it up. It's like watching several small fires burning at the same time, and you're not sure which one might spread first. I've always appreciated how General Hospital shows the characters facing difficult situations without making everything simple or easy. They make mistakes, they worry, they try to protect the people they love, and sometimes they have to deal with the consequences of choices made by others. That feels honest to me. At my age, I've learned that life often works that way. One thing leads to another, and you do your best to navigate through it. I'll be watching closely this week to see how these stories develop. Will Sidwell act on the idea Cassius planted, or will he wait and watch? Can Lucas stay safe if someone tries to frame him? How will Lulu handle the situation with Rocco, and will her words make him think twice next time? Most of all, I'm concerned about Jocelyn. Will Cullum connect the dots, and if he does, how much trouble is she going to face? These kinds of weeks are part of what keeps me coming back to the show. The drama keeps me interested, but it's also the characters' resilience and the way they care about each other that I enjoy most. Even when things look messy, there's usually a thread of hope or determination running through it. I've already cleared my schedule, so I won't miss any episodes. I'll probably be thinking about Port Charles long after the credits roll. If you've been watching too, I'd love to know which part has you the most curious or concerned this week. Sometimes talking about it makes the waiting between episodes a little easier. Finally, I've been following General Hospital for so many years, and every time I think the stories can't get more layered, they add even more pieces that make me sit up and pay closer attention. This week from April 27 to May 1 is turning out to be one of those busy stretches where several characters are dealing with hidden motives, quiet suspicions, and worries that just won't let go. Let me tell you about a few more storylines that caught my eye. There's Ethan Lovett, played by Nathan Dean. From what the show is hinting at, he's slowly settling into his new role, working for Sonny Corinthos. On the surface, it probably looks like he's just doing his job, getting used to how things run around Sonny. But I have a feeling Ethan is keeping his real reasons for being there very close to his chest. He's playing it careful, and that makes the whole situation more interesting to watch. Sonny, of course, isn't the type to trust blindly. He's going to be keeping a very close eye on Ethan, and he's got Rick Lansing right there with him. The two of them are going to be digging around trying to figure out exactly what Ethan is hiding. I can already picture Sonny with that serious look on his face, watching every move. Rick will probably be asking the sharp questions, the kind that make you squirm a little if you've got something to hide. It feels like a slow burn, Sonny and Rick working together, piecing things together, while Ethan tries to stay one step ahead without giving himself away. At my age, I've seen enough to know that secrets like this rarely stay buried for long, so I'm curious to see how long Ethan can keep his true purpose under wraps. Then there's Elizabeth Baldwin. Poor Liz seems to be having a hard time shaking off the worries that came up after Drew Kane paid her a visit and asked for help. No matter how much she tries to push those thoughts aside, they keep coming back. The more she thinks about it, the more she starts to believe that something is seriously wrong. I can understand that feeling. When someone you know comes to you looking troubled and asks for help, it's not always easy to just forget about it and move on with your day. From what the show is sharing, Drew is still holding on to hope that Elizabeth or maybe someone else will come through and help him. The reason behind all this worry is heartbreaking. Willow has been giving him medication that's left him in a paralyzed state for months. Can you imagine that? Being stuck like that, unable to move properly, while hoping someone notices and steps in to rescue you? It's the kind of situation that makes your stomach tighten. Liz is the type of woman who cares deeply, so I'm not surprised she can't simply brush it off. She's probably turning it over in her mind at night, wondering what the right thing to do is and whether Drew's story adds up. When I look at everything happening this week, it really shows how Port Charles is full of people carrying secrets and quiet burdens. Ethan trying to balance his new job with Sonny while hiding his real intentions. Sonny and Rick watching him like hawks. Liz struggling to let go of her growing suspicions about Drew. And Drew himself trapped in this awful situation because of what Willow has done. It all feels connected in that small town way where one person's actions ripple out and touch so many others. I like that the show takes time with these stories. It doesn't rush everything. Instead, it lets the suspicions build slowly, lets the characters sit with their doubts, and shows how hard it can be to know who to trust. That feels honest. Life isn't always loud explosions and quick answers. Sometimes it's the quiet worry in the back of your mind that stays with you the longest. I'll be watching closely to see how these threads play out. Will Sonny and Rick manage to uncover what Ethan is really up to before he gets in too deep? How long can Ethan keep his cool while working so close to Sonny? And for Elizabeth, will she decide to act on her worries about Drew, or will she try to step back and stay out of it? The fact that Drew is counting on someone to save him from this long-term paralysis makes the whole thing even heavier. These kinds of weeks are exactly why I keep coming back to General Hospital. The characters face complicated choices, deal with secrets that weigh on them, and try their best to protect themselves and the people they care about. It may be drama, but it also feels close to real life in many ways. I've already got my afternoon lined up, so I won't miss any of the episodes. If you've been watching the show too, I'd be interested to hear which part has you thinking the most this week. The tension around Ethan and Sonny, or the difficult situation with Elizabeth and Drew. Sometimes sharing thoughts about the stories makes the waiting between episodes go by a little faster.